Welcome to our final presentation for the University of South Florida's Ethical Issues and Professional Conduct course of Spring 2025. This presentation was put together by Matthew Chiaradio, Dylan Gearens, Anthony Martini, and Sebastian Rivera. Our topic of focus was intellectual property. The following is an overview of what we'll be covering throughout this presentation. We'll begin with a bit of background around intellectual property, open source, and licenses. Then we'll identify the problem and propose our solution and design. Next, we will showcase a quick demo of a prototype of our product and conclude with an overview of our anticipated costs and propose a timeline.
Intellectual property is any creative work of the mind and is protected by laws such as patents, copyrights, and trademarks. To start our talk on intellectual property, let's look at the difference between copyleft and copyright. Copyright grants a creator exclusive access to a creative work. They are able to control reproduction, distribution, and adaptation. This follows a deontological point of view that upholds a person's right to control their work based on the law. Copyleft, however, is a technique that implements copyright law to make a work free. Additionally, modified versions of the work are required to be free. Proponents of copyleft use a consequentialist argument, citing it's better for society as a whole to make work accessible without financial obstacles. Next, we'll talk about open source, which is any work that is made freely available to be redistributed and modified. Here are some examples of open source works. Many programming languages, such as Java, are open source, which allow rapid development and transparency in behavior. When you think of open source operating systems, Linux is probably what comes to mind, and is often hailed the backbone of the internet because it can be customized by anybody to create distributions that are specialized for specific tasks. There are also many open source libraries, such as PyTorch. Open sourcing a library can garner community support to patch issues and build out new features. In general, open source works have a great impact on the entire ecosystem of a given platform. It builds communities and fast-tracks innovations. And now let's talk about licenses. Licenses are a necessary component of distributing a free work. A license describes what the rights of users are and the conditions under which they are able to use a work. Without one, you must receive direct permission from an author to use their material. There do exist licenses, such as the MIT license, where you have full rights to use, modify, distribute, and sell a work, given that you give attribution to the authors. In the Apache license, in addition to rights to the work, you also have rights to patents that are related to the work. This is just a short introduction to licenses, and there are many licenses that exist.
This brings us to a key challenge. How can open source projects respect the rights of other authors without consuming too much of the project's limited development time? The answer lies in implementing clear attribution, strictly adhering to license requirements, and ensuring that no proprietary code is incorporated without the proper authorization. By doing so, open source developers can safeguard the intellectual property rights of others while avoiding infringement. This approach fosters an environment of trust, making it easier for developers to collaborate and contribute without unnecessary legal burdens or disruptions of the development process. Our proposed solution is called License Auditor, which is a tool designed to streamline the compliance process for open source projects. Available as both a website and a command line interface, it scans GitHub repositories to identify all third-party dependencies. For each dependency, it checks and displays the associated licenses. License Auditor flags any incompatible, missing, or potentially risky licenses, helping you avoid legal pitfalls. In addition, it generates a clear, actionable compliance report, making it easy to address any issues. Here's an overview of how the License Auditor tool works, broken down into a clear step-by-step process. The process begins on the home page, where the user provides a URL of their GitHub project into the web app. The app retrieves key dependency files from the repository, such as a package.json. It then identifies all the libraries used within the project. Then, the app checks if the repository includes a license, notice, or attribution files. These files must acknowledge the libraries being used as required by the respective licenses. Then, the app analyzes the licenses for each library to ensure they are legally compatible. It flags any risks, such as incompatible licenses or missing license data, providing a thorough check for compliance. Finally, the app generates a compliance report, summarizing all dependencies, their licenses, and any potential compliance risk, and whether the necessary attribution requirements are met. Checking for attribution files is a key part of proper compliance, which is often overlooked. The report makes it easy to spot and fix problems before they become legal risk.
Now we will demo our command line interface tool. First, we will set up a brand new Node.js project with all the default values. Note that we are using the ISC default license. Next, we can install the package. And finally, we can run our license auditor to identify that we do have a license. Now we can install a new Node.js library such as React. And once again, we can run our license auditor to verify that both packages have licenses. Now, to demonstrate a counterexample, we will install a library without a license. After installing Stream Search, we can now run License Auditor and be notified that Stream Search is missing a license, and we can take the next appropriate steps.
We believe that this project can be completed with a budget of $100,000. The initial development will take about 4 months with a team of 4 software engineers. If we pay each one $5,000 per month, the total cost for labor will be $80,000. Using a platform like Google Cloud, we will have no cost during the development stage. However, once deployed to keep our services available, we will incur continuing costs from hosting the website, running virtual machines to process repositories, and storage to maintain records. We will allocate $15,000 for these costs. We expect the monthly cost from these services to be quite low, under $250 per month. But for the long-term sustainability of the project, we will accept donations and sponsorships, as do many open source projects. Without any additional funding, the project will be self-sustainable for at least the next 5 years. The remaining $5,000 will be allocated for marketing services and strategies to reach potential users. To complete this project within the 4-month time frame, we will start by building the CLI tool, focusing on license compliance and other core functionality. Once satisfied with the CLI, we will develop a basic website that allows users to upload their repositories and generate compliance reports. In this step, we will integrate Google Cloud services for the project's infrastructure. And since the underlying code that generates the reports will have already been completed during the development of the CLI tool, this will not take long. Once the website's core functionality is completed and all cloud services are properly configured, we will polish the website with a better user interface and experience following best practices and standards. After the website is polished, we will officially launch the CLI tool and website and partner with popular open source projects to audit their license compliance and place a badge on their repository to improve trust for their audience and to promote our product. We will spread the word by posting on popular communities for developers such as Hacker News, Dev, and others. Also, we will create and publish informative videos about how to use our application and why license compliance is important. After launch, we will continue to collect feedback and promote.
That concludes our presentation. Thank you for your time.